Hello, hi, it's me, I'm back, and today I'm going to be talking about rejection sensitivity dysphoria, and I'll probably be getting into auditory processing disorder, even though I don't really know that I have it. I don't really know that this is an issue for me, but I'm realizing more and more how many sensory issues I do have. It's a frustrating realization, even though I know that it's not something that's my fault, something that's wrong with me. I still feel like it is. And, moments in my life where I realize that I'm struggling, it's so difficult to be okay with it or think that you're on the level of other people, even while you're struggling, because they aren't struggling. It's like if you're all swimming all at the same time and you're like struggling to stay above the water and everybody else is just floating around like it's no big deal. It's hard not to feel like you're a fool, a worthless idiot. So I was in a coffee shop earlier, a cafe. I got my coffee, drank it, did some things, and then I went and I asked a lady boy, as I'm in Thailand, so transgendered person. There's a lady boy that works there, and I said, "Hey, could I get um, Pad Krapao guy?" Now, because of my fear of rejection, because of my fear that I'm going to look like an idiot, because of my it's not even a fear, because you say you have a fear of rejection. It makes it sound like you don't get rejected, or it makes it sound like your fear is not a real thing, or not I also have a fear of getting bit by a cobra. Guess what? If I was near a cobra, I'd be very afraid, and I should be, because if it bites you, it's going to be very bad. Quite frankly, when you get rejected, your body goes through a feeling of, I'm getting kicked out of the tribe. I'm not going to make it. I've done something horrible. Empathy, caring about what others think about you, very important. Or, in terms of our biological safety mechanisms that we've had programmed into us for a millennia, right? So in my attempts at saying what I think, I'm still not even sure. And I asked the lady boy, I'm like, because the woman that was there, that runs the place, kind of laughed a little bit, and I don't exactly know what she was laughing at. This is again one of the worst things about being autistic, is this desperation for, like, please tell me what I've done, so at least I can know and I can move forward, and I can, I don't know. There's always this sense of what happened, what just happened, what did I do wrong? And no one can ever really tell you. And when you ask, they say, "Oh, nothing, don't worry about it." Well, you just fucking laughed. You just fucking and in Thailand, this is something I've had to, like, really learn, is that they'll laugh. It's a much different thing than America, where if you're getting laughed, you're getting laughed at. You're either getting laughed with or you're getting laughed at. I think in Thailand, they're just laughing. There's no real reason, and it's not really about you, and they're not even thinking anything about you. But I've been to this place enough that I've developed a, I don't know how to say it. It's not a relationship or even friendship, but it's a familiarity. Familiarity with the woman, a familiarity with the lady boy that works there, that I say that she worked there. Um, and so, the lady boy has, I think, more than anybody else, understands that I am extremely sensitive. And she sits down and is asking me what I want, but I'm like at this point, I'm already sort of dissociating. Maybe I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed by everybody in the room. I'm overwhelmed by the woman saying something in Thai and laughing. I'm overwhelmed by the ladyboy sitting in front of me and talking and saying something. Because it's also, did I talk? I started this talk and then I stopped, and now I realize I have no idea what I said in the past one that I deleted and what I'm saying right now. So I might repeat myself. The lady boy is talking to me, and whenever they're talking in English that is with a heavy accent, I have to struggle so hard to understand what they're saying. It's very difficult for me to understand. It's difficult for me to hear people when they're speaking English, much less to hear broken English with an accent, to parse it, to grasp it, to recognize what they're saying. So I'm kind of like already dissociating. My eyes are wide. She touches my arm, and then I realize my attention goes back to her because I'm kind of like basically losing my train of thought, which happens quite easily for me. Again, I feel very emotional even now talking about this. The fact that I'm so easily overwhelmed, and I hate it. And I know what it looks like to other people. It looks like fear. It looks like stupidity. The worst thing in the world for me is both of those things, quite frankly. When you're an adult, people might not be as obvious bullies, but they will, this, especially, I don't know, especially as a guy, I'm not sure. But when you show weakness, there are bad people in the world that will take advantage of that or get excited by that. And I know that the look that when I get overwhelmed, my eyes go wide. I get a little bit like, what, that kind of shaky. It looks like fear, even though I wouldn't describe it as fear, but it's an overwhelm. The horrible thing is when I've described this to therapists in the past, and they would describe it as fear. They would describe it as anxiety. They would describe it as something that I could overcome, and I believed them. And now recognizing my problems, I believe there are steps to be taken. I know for me personally, if I approach a situation recognizing that it's going to be very overwhelming, that I will be able to kind of, I don't know, imagine jumping into the water and trying to swim. And in one version of the event, you're swimming, you expect the water is, maybe you can't see the water. So you expect the water is going to be flat, even, stable. And then in another event, you're jumping into the water, but you see the water and you know that it's a rough seas. And so you're prepared. Like when I get in there, I'm going to have to, really struggle against the waves and stuff. And you're going to know like so much you'll benefit from knowing what you're about to step into. I again order, I don't know if you call it, I tried to ask the lady boy and she didn't explain to me. And I tried to ask, is it pad kapow? Because even in Google, you Google pad kapow guy, pad kapow moo. Moo is pig, guy is chicken. It stands for, I think noodles or rice. Which one? And krapow or kaprow, I don't know, is holy basil. So, but I don't know. If you Google kapow, you'll find both transliterations, kaprow. And so the moment that I tried to say it, I try to say it out loud. I start getting timid. I start tripping over the words, and it's hard for me to say it. It's hard for me to get it out. So much of the problem of being late diagnosed or late self-diagnosed is also you build up a lifetime of not knowing what's going on and a lifetime of trying and struggling and failing, and then nobody really knows why. And the longer you fail as a human being, the more you think what a worthless nothing you are, how pathetic that you can't do the bare minimum. And it's so difficult. I went to therapist after therapist, and they would give me these personality disorders. They would give me, in some ways, I mean, they don't mean to traumatize or to harm or to send you into even a stronger sense of rejection sensitivity. But my God, they do. The therapists are so completely dumb in their recognition of who you are. And I struggle now to think, what would I tell a younger person? What would I tell somebody who's struggling? Would I tell them to go to see a therapist? Would I tell them to do deep research on themselves? I don't know, because I've gotten to the age that I am now, and I'm only here recognizing all these things because of decades of me learning and trying and failing. And now, I mean, maybe through all the new information that people have, maybe they would find these aspects of themselves. They would find these things out quicker. But I don't know, because therapy to me it was truly harmful. That's all I really know. And I still speak to somebody now, and I know that I can't trust anything that he says, and that I need to learn to really depend on my own sense of understanding of what's going on, because therapists have been so completely incorrect. It does feel like I'm a singular a singular human being amongst a bunch of other people that really understand how the world works. And they've all kind of gotten together, and they've all put the pieces of life together, and they all have the rule book, the way of understanding things. And I just have to be okay with the fact that I'm going to be singularly separate from other people. I'm getting off topic, I guess. I wrote something down. My attempts at trying fills me with this sense of I'm not right, I'm not good enough, right in quotation marks. And no amount of my self-talk and self-talking kind words to myself seems to change that. After it all ended, because when it was happening, in the moment I'm ordering, she's trying to, she was very nice, the lady boy, I looked at her and I said, I think you don't understand me. And she says, no, I understand. And so, I mean, it's so funny, because again, I feel emotional now when I'm playing it back in my mind, because I know I'm seeing it in slow motion, and I'm sure that I was really probably was struggling more than I realized. It's only after these moments end where I recognize, like, oh, I was like in the water fighting to stay above. While it's happening, I don't realize that's what I'm having to do, and that's probably making me look kind of weird to everybody else. And this is, again, one thing that I've attempted to talk to therapists about. They just don't have a slight understanding, because they always put it into this social anxiety perspective or idea, which is that when I lost what I was about to say. The only thing you can really do is try to slow down when these moments happen. Or the only thing that I can do is slow down when the moments happen. And that reduces the intensity of the moment. So you have to just sort of be aware that this is about to happen. I suppose what I was about to say earlier was that I've also learned a trick for me to not get overwhelmed. And it's difficult. It's not great, because the trick is to stop caring and to basically not want to be with people anymore, to not try to be with people anymore, because you understand, I would say, unless you find someone else that might be autistic or different or struggling in life, maybe you'll find someone that's on your wavelength. But quite frankly, I do also know that even if you do find somebody that's autistic or different or struggling in life, the only wavelength they'll be on is just the understanding that life is difficult for them and maybe difficult for you, but that doesn't mean that they'll even reach that point of compassion for other people. They might kind of go the exact opposite way. They might actually have less compassion because the only way that they got through life was having no compassion for themselves. So then I'm kind of at this place of understanding, like, how do you get around people when attempting to interact with them makes you hate yourself? If every interaction is so difficult, people don't like that. And I don't like that. It's not fun. It's not good. So the way that I've learned to deal with it over the last few years, these problems, is by giving up. Was the best way of me dealing. But giving up means being alone. And being alone is not fun or good. It's tiring, and it makes life not worth living. So if I try to be social, I will be laughed at, and I will want to come back to my room later and cry. I haven't cried, but and I don't expect to, but I have the feeling of that I could or would want to, and crying is tiring to me at this point. Feeling all these feelings is tiring. Feeling like I'm not good enough is tiring, and no amount of assholes on the internet or assholes in therapeutic situations telling me that I should fucking love myself or give myself space. Yes, of course. Like, shit, fucking no shit. Fucking no shit. I should give myself some amount of grace. Everyone should give themselves some amount of grace. I would tell that to another person struggling. But goddamn, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Who the fuck wants to hear it? Just give yourself grace. You're good. You're a good enough person. You're really trying in life. Like, fuck off. Fuck off. That's another reason why I couldn't deal with therapists. Is that was the end result. That was the best they could do. The most basic fucking shit, for lack of a better way of saying it. If you love yourself enough, then life will become better and easier. Like, I'm sorry, but no. Because there are days in my life where I go through life and I've got some amount of feeling like I'm got self-esteem and I'm doing well. And that doesn't get me around people. That doesn't get me with people because I'm still the weirdo. I'm still odd. I'm still the guy that needs to do things in a specific way because it makes sense to me and it's how I need to do it. And other people don't understand, and then they reject me, and then I go, oh yeah, even who I am when I like myself is somebody worth rejecting. Yes, of course, having something like the terminology for rejection, sensitivity, dysphoria, having these, I don't know, is that a correct way of positioning this issue? Because I don't know that I'm exactly sensitive to rejection. It's just happened all the damn time. Imagine somebody getting punched in the face repeatedly, and then a therapist going, you know what, you have punched in the face dysphoria. You feel like you're about to get punched in the face, even when it's not going to happen. Well, you know what? I don't like getting punched in the face. And if you look like you're about to take a swing at me, I might flinch. And maybe I get around people enough that I'm flinching constantly. And do you know how you get out of, if you aren't autistic, if you're not different, if you're just a relatively neurotypical person, you know how you get out of social anxiety? And this was told to me when I was younger, and they just thought I had social anxiety. They say, just get around people. Put yourself out there. Take small steps to move towards other human beings. Recognize that other human beings will be nice to you, will be kind to you, and you will learn that, your social anxiety is this made up thing in your mind. It's all made up. But if you are autistic, it isn't made up. It's not this unreal thing. Yeah, of course. Like, you can get to places, I'm sure, where you reduce it, or you can get to places where you're less often rejected. But we're primed. We're primed. I don't know. Okay, I'm going off. I'm blathering. I'm gone to a blather spot, and I think I've said enough. This is a new style for me. I'm just walking around my room, pacing and talking into the microphone, and I think that this is the end of this. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.